But one thing I could do was I could wake up in the morning and be grateful that I was laying in a bed. I could sit up and be grateful that I was able to sit up, that I could get out of bed and I could put one foot in front of the other and walk to the bathroom. That sounds ridiculous, but if you're in a severe trauma or stress, because I've never really been in that exact situation before, that's just what I drew down on to help me. And it really, really helped. And then I've realized, as well as gratitude, and when I'd get out in the bigger, wider world, if I was walking somewhere, I'd think, I'm grateful to be able to look at that tree. I'm grateful for that beautiful green leaf. It was just immediate things. I wasn't trying to draw on big fancy things. It was just what I could see or what I was doing. I was just grateful for every step.
Stay connected to gratitude. Hit the follow button right now and join thousands of listeners tuning in each week. We're the Gratitude Seekers. Come join us. Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Our guest from today has owned startups since she was 24 and is familiar with the unique challenges of running a business. On her journey, she discovered well-being education made all the difference to herself and team in facilitating personal mastery and ongoing success. As a result of this, she founded Blisspot by bringing together community, education, and technology. She is now joined by international well-being experts on Blisspot, among which I am grateful to be as well, who share online courses, podcasts, and meditations to support individuals and businesses to thrive. Now she's even taking it further to the next level with the Web3 Wellness app that empowers and rewards well-being. Deborah Tyson, welcome to the Gratitude Podcast.
Oh, thank you, Georgine. What a beautiful introduction. I thought, just so beautifully put. And we're very grateful to have you as a world-leading expert on gratitude on Blisspot as well. So thank you, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for keeping me engaged and keeping me posted with all of the amazing things that you're working on. And I love innovation and I love well-being, and I'm really happy to be a part of Blisspot. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're absolutely welcome. Like I say, we're delighted and honoured to have you as part of it as well. And so I think with Blisspot, it's the thing I enjoy the most is collaborating with people and bringing all these incredible life-enhancing ideas to the world to make it a better place. So totally grateful equally in return. Thank you, Georgie.
Yeah, definitely. So let us know a little bit more about you, about your story, maybe some things that we didn't get to speak about in our interviews, the ones that you did with me. And so let us know who Deborah is.
Oh, it's a big question, isn't it? Well, I guess, as a quick overview, I was brought up in the country, which I'm totally grateful for that experience. But we also spent a lot of our school holidays. I was born in Griffith, which is a country town in New South Wales in Australia. And then I spent my sort of school years in Wagga, which was a big regional country town in Australia. But I was actually brought up on the farm, which I loved, the freedom of that and being really at one with nature. And my mother loved animals. We actually had a pet kangaroo, which is not typical or usual in Australia.
Wow.
And horses and dogs and cats, and bunnies. That was absolutely beautiful. And we also got to spend a lot of time in the city. We used to come to, my grandparents had a holiday house right on the beach. So we're very lucky that we used to come to Manly to Sydney to go for holidays. And so I feel as a child, I was grateful to know the country and the city, but I actually always loved the city. I always couldn't wait to get to the city and to work here one day. And um, so as an early adult, I studied design. I love design. I love how beautiful it can be in art and how it opens up our soul. And I think all the creative endeavors aren't like luxuries, but they're actually part of making us, I don't know, connect with the world and each other and ourselves. So I was lucky enough to go to art school, and then I started up a design company, and I had that for 10 years. But in the early stages, I found very quickly that if I didn't start to grow, I was going to go out of business, actually. So I was totally motivated by that alone to grow, because I thought, I'm struggling. The business grew very quickly. I had 7 team members within the first year, which back in those days was quite a quick organic growth. But I didn't know anything about conflict resolution, team development, corporate culture. I was only 24. So I knew how to design, and I felt I was a good designer, but that was about it. So that was actually, I believe, life's challenges are always gifts in strange wrapping paper if you allow them to be. So I took all those opportunities, and they were a motivation or catalyst for me to learn. And these days I try to really dig deep and listen to my own wisdom. But I have to say, along, the past 30 years, it's listening to others, how they overcame their struggles, learning new skills, that has really helped me get to the next level. So if I was struggling, so that's when you're struggling, you usually feel tension in your body, stressed, overwhelmed, those kinds of symptoms. I would go out and I would find a book, a course. They didn't do podcasts back in those days, more like workshops, seminars. You spend thousands of dollars trying to um, find the answers to your questions, whereas these days it's so readily available online, and the world's changed, I think, for the better, because it means more people can access them and get them help right when it's needed. But back in those days, I remember I'd even go overseas to Japan, or I'd go to across the other side of the country to see an incredible speaker. But it did help my growth, and it really helped my businesses thrive and prosper by just following that simple rule that if I was stressed or overwhelmed and struggling, yes, of course, try to work it out yourself, but don't stay in struggle. Go and get the help and the support. I mean, we're all supported and we're all connected, and the answers are always out there. And then I was able to grow to the next level. And I continue to use that philosophy to this day, because the business that I'm in now obviously is a lot bigger. It's a global business. It's a tech business. So it's got a lot more challenges than my design business had back then. So I'm always growing and learning personally. Yes, I found that's really worked for me. And now I bring, all these beautiful other experts into Blisspot, because it's more than just my ideas. The idea is that we would offer a range, like a smorgasbord of beautiful content that would help people. It would meet them just where they're at on their own personal journey, and give them those skills and support so they can get out of that struggle and back into the flow again. Yeah. And I think, just sorry to add to that, one of the main messages I would say is that often people might fall into feeling like stress and overwhelm are just part of life, and that we might have fleeting happy moments, but kind of like it's our lot in life. Or we could also fall into the trap of thinking it's going to change. Like, we feel stressed and overwhelmed now, but one day it will get better, which is true to an extent, because one of my philosophies is that storms pass, like this too shall pass in time. That is true. But also that um, I'd like to flip that, so that happiness and vitality and feeling well and engaged and excited about life are our natural and normal state. And we might have the normal stresses and challenges of life, like they do occur. And for most people, that is unavoidable, but we have a toolbox of skills, or we can go out and get the skills to get through those times, and then get back to our normal, happy, healthy, vital state. So, again, it's all about our mindset and the way we think. But I think that is totally possible, but we need to focus on that and want that for ourselves, want happiness and health and vitality to be our natural state. And then actually, if we're not feeling like that, to take the actions and do the work to get us there.
Exactly, because aside from all of the exterior things that should make us feel in a certain way, the way we live our life actually makes us feel in a certain way, and it's very important for all of us, I believe, to get to that normal state as you defined it, in which we are good, we are feeling good, we are able to manage stress as great as we can at that moment, but also keep growing and keep learning. Because my take is that even if we want to avoid stress, it's really hard to do so. So, like you mentioned, we need a toolbox. We need ways of dealing with stress, of dealing with anxiety, because they come up, even if they are not the norm. They still come up, and yeah, that's why it's amazing to have these kinds of skills. And I know that you use gratitude in a really challenging life situation, and that it helped you quite a lot. Can you tell us a little bit what happened and how you were able to use gratitude in that situation?
If you're a podcast host, listen up. This one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle. And I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
If you have a headache or feel tired constantly, clean air can be the solution. And in theory, if you want more clean air, you just open the windows, right? Well, not quite. Pollution in general and noise pollution in particular make it a much less desirable option for most of us. But here comes Air Doctor. Air Doctor helps us and our family enjoy cleaner air with fewer odors and better sleep. It uses a 3-stage filtration system that captures particles about 100 times smaller than what most air purifiers can handle. Stuff you definitely don't want floating around your home. We're talking dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, even bacteria, viruses, odors, ozone, and VOCs, all the invisible things you'd rather not be breathing in every day. And here's the best part. It's whisper quiet. You don't get that constant loud fan noise that so many air purifiers have, so you can sleep or work peacefully. Air Doctor also has an auto mode, which means it's constantly adjusting to keep air clean 24/7. You don't have to think about it. And when it's time to change the filter, it reminds you, so there's no guesswork. 98% of Air Doctor customers say their home's air feels cleaner, safer, and healthier. It's no surprise Air Doctor won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for Best Air Purifier. Head to airdoctor.com and use promo code GRATITUDE to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus a 3-year warranty. An $84 value free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctor.com. That's AIRDOCTORPRO.com using promo code gratitude.
Sure. Well, last year I did have a particularly challenging time. Even though I had a great childhood in many ways, I've also had many challenges throughout my life, and not only growing with the business, but lots of, different challenges with family issues and various things. So, um, I sort of had thought I'd got to a point last year where I thought I'd learned all these skills and I had a fantastic toolbox because I'm very passionate about it and I'm a life learner. And I thought I was in a reasonably good position. And then I thought I'd sort of had my difficult times, if that makes sense. And then
Mhm.
last year in about October, I had everything happen in 3 months and I didn't expect it at all. My husband lost his business. That meant we lost our house, our family home. We had to move out extremely quickly. We actually had a holiday home as well. We had to sell that, move out of that. Um, my husband so we lost everything materially speaking. And then my husband and we had to go into temporary accommodation because we couldn't find somewhere to live quickly. And we were in the temporary accommodation, my husband, who had not been well for about a year, but he also discovered that he had to have open heart surgery. And that
Oh my
was,
God.
had lots of complications. He was only meant to be in hospital for a week to 10 days, but he ended up being there for 2 weeks, going in and out of ICU. It was just an incredibly stressful time, and everything was happening all at once. It wasn't like we're just dealing with the business or the house or the health situation. It was everything. And at first, I did feel like I was living in a nightmare, and it was just a nightmare. And I was going to pinch myself and wake up, but it wasn't. It was reality. And I also felt in the beginning like a total failure because I thought, well, how can I have devoted the main part of my adult life to life learning, personal growth, expanding my consciousness, and yet have ended up in this situation? But then I realized it was actually all those skills that were to get me through these next 3 months. So when I'd realized it wasn't some sort of nightmare that I was going to wake up from, that it was actually reality, I just absolutely sunk into gratitude. And I wasn't even it was just the thing that helped because I didn't have probably a lot of bandwidth to do complicated processes and lots of other sorts of deep inquiry work. I was sheerly in survival, but one thing I could do was I could wake up in the morning and be grateful that I was laying in a bed. I could sit up and be grateful that I was able to sit up, that I could get out of bed and I could put one foot in front of the other and walk to the bathroom. That sounds ridiculous, but if you're in a severe trauma or stress, because I've never really been in that exact situation before, that's just what I drew down on to help me. And it really, really helped. And then I've realized, as well as gratitude, and when I'd get out in the bigger, wider world, if I was walking somewhere, I'd think, I'm grateful to be able to look at that tree. I'm grateful for that beautiful green leaf. It was just immediate things. I wasn't trying to draw on big fancy things. It's just what I could see or what I was doing. I was just grateful for every step, everything I could see. And that really helped me because it stopped my mind, which was probably in shock when I look back and extremely stressed, from thinking things like, why me? This isn't fair, um, that kind of thing. So that really, really helped a lot. And physically, I was not in a good way either. My whole body was absolutely chock-a-block full of cortisol and adrenaline, and my face was bright red. The back of my hands were all bright red. My skin kept peeling off me. It was just bizarre. It was awful though because I felt
Mhm.
terrible and I also looked absolutely terrible. And I'm in a startup. I had my own business. So I didn't have the luxury to go, I'll just put you on hold for 3 months and then get back to you. Every day I worked on my business whilst managing all those moves. And on the moving days, I couldn't, sometimes I'd take a few meetings, but mainly then I just had to focus on the moving. But, it really was a lot. And gratitude, particularly in those early days, was the most powerful tool I have ever experienced in not just letting my mind go into a really negative state. But now I realize, because this journey has, even to this day, I'm continuing to do courses just to get me through to the other side and to be that fully empowered person, and happy and vital, all the things that I said. I obviously think that's my natural state. And if I'm not feeling like that, I'll do the work until I get there. And I've been studying a lot about consciousness lately and about getting us out of survival and into a state where we're thriving. And as part of that study, building on things that we probably all already know, is that what you tell your subconscious, it does. So if you say to your subconscious or your thinking, life is hard, your subconscious goes, oh, yes, life's hard. And then it'll bring you hard experiences to reinforce what you're telling it, because it's like a tool. Your subconscious is like energy that is there for you to mold and to manifest the life that you want. But if you're telling it negative things, it's going to create negative experiences in your life. So what I just realized, I actually put this all together. Maybe it was because I was leading up to this podcast. Just put it together this morning, actually, that when you're in a state of gratitude, you're thinking positive things and you're feeding that into your subconscious. So then your subconscious is likely to feed that back to you. And with that big challenging time I had to go through it. But I guess you can let things like that define you. You can be ruminating it on a year or two or 10 years later, or you can just get through it all as quickly as you possibly can and then get on with the things you can control and rebuilding a life or moving forward in the best way possible. So I think that's what gratitude skills give you, the ability to rebound. You might not be able to avoid situations, as I could not last year. I had to go through it, but it certainly gave me the ability to work with my mind, feed my subconscious, which I didn't actually even realize I was doing at the time. I thought I was just sort of putting positive vibes into my body and making me feel better. But I realized now it's actually much deeper and more powerful than that. I was feeding my subconscious positive messages, and that did allow me to get through the other side in probably the best possible way that I could for me. And it was nice because I have had it reinforced. Like some of my friends said, and I think I've already told Georgie in this, but some of my friends said to me, if I was you, I don't know how you got through that. I would have just laid in bed crying every single day. I'm like, well, that really doesn't help. I had 3 children and they're older children, but I wanted to be a role model to them as how you deal with adversity. I wanted to walk my talk. I wanted to tap into all the skills that I knew that I possessed. And another person who's actually extremely close to me just said to me, I assumed that through that whole time that you medicated yourself just to be able to deal with it. And I was actually quite shocked. I thought, oh my gosh, because that's so, medication definitely has its place, and I'm not criticizing that because I know, you've got to find what works for you. But in this particular case, I said, no, it wasn't medication, it was meditation. So the gratitude was when I was in that deep, deep state of shock and trauma. And then all through that time too, I meditated every day just for 15 minutes in the morning, setting my intent, going beyond my thoughts and feelings, resting in a state of conscious awareness. And I still, obviously, I always do that. anyway. And I believe now I feel that it was those skills that actually got me through that time, and I feel incredibly grateful. Yeah, and just to finish on gratitude, because gratitude, even though it got me through the height of the worst times, there's not a day that goes by that I wouldn't practice it. Probably at that time I was just sort of almost practicing it every single minute of the day just to get from A to B. But now, like my general practice is I rest in bed at night. It's one of my favorite parts of the day. And I just think of all the things I was grateful for. And it just fills my body with beautiful energy. I love that part of the day because there's always so many beautiful things to be grateful for, even if the day didn't go the way you thought or there was lots of challenges. Yeah, it's a way of life, I think. It's like brushing your teeth, feeding your body with good food, exercising to get the body that to get to a fitness level that you want to be. I think gratitude is a way to manage your energy and your mind, your thoughts and your emotions. It's a way that allows you to manage your energetic state, which I think is just as important as brushing your teeth and eating good food, all those other things. And I think humanity is just really tapping into the power of that now, which is exciting to take us forward.
If you have a headache or feel tired constantly, clean air can be the solution. And in theory, if you want more clean air, you just open the windows, right? Well, not quite. Pollution in general and noise pollution in particular make it a much less desirable option for most of us. But here comes Air Doctor. Air Doctor helps us and our family enjoy cleaner air with fewer odors and better sleep. It uses a 3-stage filtration system that captures particles about 100 times smaller than what most air purifiers can handle. Stuff you definitely don't want floating around your home. We're talking dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, even bacteria, viruses, odors, ozone, and VOCs, all the invisible things you'd rather not be breathing in every day. And here's the best part. It's whisper quiet. You don't get that constant loud fan noise that so many air purifiers have, so you can sleep or work peacefully. Air Doctor also has an auto mode, which means it's constantly adjusting to keep air clean 24/7. You don't have to think about it. And when it's time to change the filter, it reminds you, so there's no guesswork. 98% of Air Doctor customers say their home's air feels cleaner, safer, and healthier. It's no surprise Air Doctor won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for Best Air Purifier. Head to airdoctor.com and use promo code GRATITUDE to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus a 3-year warranty. An $84 value free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctor.com. That's airdoctorpro.com using promo code GRATITUDE.
Definitely, I really appreciate that you share this story with us, your experience with us, because I'm sure it must have not been an easy experience, but your resilience, I'm sure, is very inspiring. At least I'm sure that it is for me, and I'm sure that it's going to be very inspiring for our listeners, because going through it is one thing. Being able to share about this is also another thing that's not easy to do, and I appreciate you for doing this. And yeah, the fact that you were able in those moments to find things to be grateful for, I think this is also very inspiring, because in those moments our brain tends to just focus on survival, and it goes into a survival mode. We're just thinking, okay, what's the next thing I need to do to just survive, basically. And the fact that you were able to bring your brain to a responsive state and using gratitude, you are able to see the resources that you have. That's so powerful. And what you did is brilliant, because that helps us build on that. We build on all of these small things that um, build an emotional, I don't know, an emotional base, an emotional um, stronghold, let's say, uh, in everything else that's challenging in those moments. And I believe that this is so powerful. And I'm sure that many of our listeners that might be going through these kinds of situations can find a lot of inspiration in this, because for me at least, when you mentioned the fact that you're grateful for the fact that you had a bed to sleep in, um, it's something that we usually take for granted. It's something that thankfully most of us enjoy, but it wasn't your bed, it was a bed, just one place to be able to rest, to recharge, and to be able to take on all of the challenges. And I think that's again so powerful, because you didn't have that comfort, that stability like we do in general, and still you were able to find that stability inside of you, and be able to find the resources to manage all of the things that were happening on the outside. So yeah, I think this is a really inspiring story, and um, I believe that we can all take a lot from it, because we usually have challenges, but thankfully it's just one or two or three bigger challenges that we need to deal with. But when you have so many challenges like you did in a short amount of time, that can be really hard. And I believe that another important point here is that if we practice gratitude, if we have self-care habits, if we have a toolbox that we put in work constantly, whether things are going okay, great, or not so much, in these moments we get to reap the rewards. And even though things are really hard, the fact that we can handle them in a much better way, and without medication or without things that might harm us in the long run, I think this is a blessing. And I at least want this for everyone listening, and for everyone in the world to have this opportunity to have these kinds of tools to deal with all kinds of life situations. And aside from this, what I think is very important that you mentioned is the fact that even after those challenging times are gone, we can still use meditation and gratitude to appreciate the fact that we overcame those kinds of situations, and also to just appreciate the new life and the next level that we are at. And it's just one of the reasons why I love gratitude so much, because it's not only helpful when we're down, when the resources are or seem to be low, but it's also great when things are going great, and when everything is wonderful in our life, and we can, like you mentioned, we can at the end of the day we can relive those beautiful moments that make us feel grateful. So yeah, you shared some amazing tips and some really powerful ideas from your own experience. And from this point of view, I think it was, like you said, a blessing in disguise what you experienced.
You have to be quite resilient and strong to have a business just to make it survive and get to the next level. And luckily, my businesses, I've had 3. This is my 3rd one. I was always able to sell them, so they were successful. And I knew the resilience and strength that takes, but I'd never had to cope with something like this before. And when it all first happened, we had to move out of our 2 properties in 2 weeks. That means we had a week to pack up one and a week to pack up the other. It was just, and whilst keeping the business going and everything else that was going on. And I just didn't even think I could do it. I just didn't even know that that was physically possible for me, because we had to clean the house and do everything and find a new place to live, which all that sort of thing. And what I realized is that we have deep reserves within. And I think when you're grateful rather than panicking, so if I was thinking that whole time, I was just thinking things like, I'm grateful that I can pick up the phone and speak to a removalist truck. It was just the most basic things. I'm grateful I can put the phone down again. It was just stuff like that. Just that's how I sort of got through my every movement. But I think because I was in that state, I tapped into these really, really deep reserves within, which we all have. All humans have it. We're all connected to everything through time and space and in our natural state. But I think because I'd been practicing gratitude, I think I always advise people not to practice the skill when you're in the stressful situation. But gratitude was part of my daily routine already. Like I'd practice every night. Sometimes I'd write in my gratitude journal, or I'd say the things that I was grateful for. So when I really, really needed a tool, that was what I fell back on. And my body was kind of semi-trained already to do it because I did it every night. That's why I think learn to meditate when you're not in a massive crisis, or practice these skills when the pressure's off, because then when the pressure's on, you'll just that's what you'll turn to. However, if you don't have the skills already and you're in a crisis and you need to fall back on something, it's absolutely fine to learn them then too. Like, you just have to do what you have to do. But I think because I'd already practiced gratitude, when I was in that bad situation, or challenging situation, I should say, like I could even see it as a gift, because it certainly taught me to go deeper, to be more aware of things, to be more aware of my inner world. I think I've become more connected to myself, which helps me connect to other people around me. But when it happened and I was automatically thinking those gratitude, it was kind of like my body almost just took over, and it was telling me, I just fell into that routine of being grateful. I started to really tap into those deep reserves within that we all have. I think I've already said this, that make us really, really strong. So we're all a lot more resilient than what we think. But if we go into panic, which I could have done, and been thinking, why me? If I started crying all the time, that stress and tension would have kept me in my head, not in my body. Gratitude keeps you beautifully in your body. And then I was able to tap into those deep reserves of strength. Had I panicked, it might have been a lot harder for me to do that. So I found that really helpful. And one thing I noticed on my personal development journey, I remember the first skill that I learned was conflict resolution. This is back when I was 24 and I had my own business, and I was feeling I needed to work out when things were going wrong in the business, or if team members weren't getting on well, I needed to have skills to work with that. So it was conflict resolution. And then I noticed that if a family member would say something to me that had pushed my buttons or triggered me in some ways, I could be upset for 3 months, like ruminating on that, talking about it to all my friends, like could have put me in a real hole for 3 months just over one thing somebody said. But I realized when I got the skills, somebody might say something to me, and fast forward like 10 years, I might be upset about it for 10 minutes. Fast forward 20 years, maybe I'd get upset about something said for 3 minutes. And then, these days I've got probably the skills to really process it in the moment and let it go a lot more compared to what I used to have. So I think when you practice life-enhancing skills every day, what it does, it gives you that ability to bounce back from situations in a quicker, more effective way than what you would have in the past. It's not that the situations will never happen. Like, probably if all of those things I described to happened that I described to you happened to me in my early 20s when I virtually didn't have many personal development skills at all. I was completely new to this work. I probably would have been crying every day. Maybe I would have had to be medicated to get through. I don't know, but I know it wouldn't have been the way that it happened now, when I feel like I've been able to bounce back. I still experience joy in the day. You know, I'm so grateful for everything that I have, the beautiful business, which, you know, I can go forward with, and that's my passion. I think that's the other thing actually that got me through, was actually having a purpose. I thought my purpose is my business. That's my true purpose. I spent a lot of time working out and thinking what my next career move was before I started up Blisspot, and I wanted to do something that was like just a complete joy to me, that I would do in my spare time as a hobby, just because I loved it. And I knew that that was in the area of personal development work and sharing ideas that make people's lives easier, joined by a community of incredible experts from all over the world, such as Georgian, who are, like me, absolutely passionate about what they do. They're living their life on purpose, and they love to serve and share and help people, you know, take them forward so that they can be living a life that's more flowing and tap into that inherent joy that is all around us all the time, and we look for it. So, yeah.
Exactly. It's one of the things that are very important in our life, to feel the fact that we are growing. And one of the ways we can feel that we are growing, that we are evolving, is by learning and doing. A life skill like gratitude, and having purpose is so important. And I believe gratitude can help us with that as well, because when we see, when we're aware of the things that we like, that we appreciate, it's much easier for us to find that purpose, to realize that this is interesting. I keep being grateful for, I don't know, the fact that I'm constantly growing. It might be something that I want to do more of. I'm constantly grateful that, I don't know, I was able to help someone in a certain way, or that I was able to paint today. Maybe that's part of my purpose. Or it's something that we can use to find our purpose, and to explore it further. And when we have that purpose and that passion, we find the resources. And this is a good habit to have as well, that I'm sure that it helped you in your experience, because when you have that resourcefulness inside of you, knowing that, okay, if I'm passionate about something, I know that I'll find the resources. I know that they are there somewhere, and I'm gonna tap into them. And this is very helpful in situations in which we're excited to explore something new or to create something new, but also when it's challenging. So yeah, but talk to us a little bit about Blisspot. Like, what are you doing right now? You're doing some amazing work, and it was new even for me, even though I love innovation. So let us know a little bit about Blisspot and where it is right now.
Well, thank you, Georgian. Well, Blisspot is Blisspot's been traditionally a Web 2 solution, where it's an online wellness solution where people can go, they can work on their goals, they can be supported by world-class content to achieve those goals. But last year, we actually started going into the Web3 space. So some people have heard of this, but many, many people have not. And I had not myself either. when I first came across it, I had no idea what Web3 even was. So just to give you like a foundation, Web 1 was back in the 1990s, where it was just read-only, very basic internet, dial-up emails, basic HTML, kind of read-only. Web 2 sort of evolved from there into the 2020s, where we've got information-centric, where so much incredible information is shared on the internet. But there's probably, 12 or so big players that dominate the internet as we know it today: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, those kinds of channels. And they're called centralized organizations, where they run from top down. They have access to your data. And now we're moving into the age of Web 3.0. So it probably started back in 2014, 2016, and people thought Web 3 was perhaps more experimental. It's all based on blockchain, cryptocurrency, but the idea of it is Web 3 is what they call decentralized organizations, where it's giving power back to the people. You access Web3 solutions through a wallet where you store your currency or your cryptocurrency. So you purchase things on the internet through your wallet, but all your data and information remains private and secure with you. It's like a vault. And ultimately, the way Web3 is moving is where people involved in organizations might even be involved with profit sharing, even customers. They might have voting rights. It's meant to be a whole more, I guess, democratic system where people can get involved and giving power back to the people. Probably that's the best way to explain it. And with Blisspot, our mission is to also give power back to the people, but through our energy, sharing skills and resources so people realize, but not even realize and know, because we do know it, but actually experience being our own best guru, where we become, over time, this takes time, self-referenced, where we're not really looking for everybody else's ideas and opinions and approval, because we know that can be very destabilizing to our own energy, because that other person could be having a bad day. They might just snap at you for no good reason at all. And if you're relying on their approval or the way they are in the world for your happiness, that can be a very destabilizing, disempowered way to live. So with Blisspot, we share a whole range of skills and ideas so that you feel in your power. You're able to tap into your own creativity, your own innovation, look within for ideas which are uniquely yours that you share with the world, and being an expression of your fullest self. So we felt that given Blisspot's giving power back to the people energetically, and Web3 is giving power back to the people in the way that the tech is all set up, it was a perfect fit for our organization. So just this week, actually, we've launched Blisspot.io, which is our Web3 version. So we have Blisspot.com, which is our Web 2 version. Now we have Blisspot.io, which is our Web3 version. We've also just launched, it's been a big week for us this week, our first Android app and our first iOS app on the iTunes store. So you can download Blisspot there in both those places. And you can access all this incredible content, podcasts, online courses, beautiful meditations from world leaders from so many different countries who really walk their talk. So in their area of expertise, everybody's got an incredible story where they've faced adversity or some great big challenge. They've dug deep. They've discovered something that really works for them. So it could be gratitude. And now they go out and they share that skill with hundreds or thousands of people all around the world, helping take their life forward in life-enhancing ways. So that's the content that we share on Blisspot, and we're very proud because now we've got quite a wide offering. You can access it in a way that suits you. You can access it in a traditional Web.2 version. That's a very beautiful product where we've got vision boards, gratitude journals, a wellbeing assessment, personalized coaching. It's a very end-to-end wellbeing solution. The Web 3.0 makes Blisspot available on the blockchain, but you can also buy it with your traditional credit card, just to cover that off if that's what you'd find easier. And now we have 2 beautiful apps available on the app stores, which make it very easy to listen to while you're going, maybe drifting off to sleep or going for a jog or on the bus, the train, wherever you might access content from your mobile. That's very easy to do now. So thank you, Georgian, for allowing me to talk about Blisspot, which obviously I love to do. I love to talk about Blisspot. So thank you.
My pleasure. I think it's a really powerful platform, and it's a great place to find so many resources. And we have the inner resources, but in many situations we need the outer resources as well to be able to overcome different kinds of challenges that we have. And there are people that have been through those kinds of challenges that can give us a helping hand. And even though it's not easy always to ask for help, I think it's very powerful, because in many situations the answer might be something very simple, but something that we're just not aware of. So
yes,
thank you so much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but I couldn't agree more. By getting those outer resources, it can just be a simple shift in perception, which can change everything. And I think the outer resources help to cultivate those inner resources till over time you becoming more self-referenced. But it's good to get support on that journey rather than struggling alone. Yeah, because if you could do it a better way, you would have done it a better way. So that's why the help's important.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was saying that I want to thank you very much for putting this together, for sharing it with the world, for sharing with us your experience, your challenges, and how you were able to overcome them. And Gratitude Seeker, I definitely recommend you go to blisspot.com or blisspot.io, or just search for Blisspot on the App Store, and enjoy the content there, and the experts that you find on many interesting topics, and on many life areas. So thank you once again, Deborah, for being here, for sharing all of these amazing insights and stories with us.
You are so welcome, Georgine. It's been such a pleasure to be here, and also to collaborate with you in sharing these resources with the world. So thank you so much for your part as well. Really appreciate it. I feel really grateful from the bottom of my heart.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Gratitude Seeker, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this interview. I really appreciate it. And if you could think of one person that would also benefit from it, share it with them. It might actually be the inspiration that they need to make their day, or maybe even their life, much better. Thank you so much once again. This has been Georgian Benta. Don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences, and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity, and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently, too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.